Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've been waiting 9 long months to say that. And like Tom Brady, we retired and then we didn't. And then we kind of retired and then we didn't. But we are back after 9 long months and we're happy because the fantasy football season is upon us. For those of you that don't remember who we are the former Wayniac Nation Starts and Sits blog writers that decided to start a fantasy football podcast. And what are our credentials? Well, we have none. We're just three dudes that like to talk fantasy football. And you could go to your other fantasy football podcasts and listen to guys with spreadsheets and videos, and we have none of that. But we're good at what we do. And for 2 years, we help people win championships. So we decided to come back. As I said, I'm the host, Wayne Cavati, but there's three of us. So for the first time in 9 months, like his own quarterback, let's welcome back Mr. Dunton to the Fantasy Football Breakdown. Dunton, how are you?
I'm all right. And just like my quarterback, I'm 46 years old and I got stuff going on, like he said. But talking fantasy is great, just like I think Tom Brady's going to be great when he steps on the field next week.
Yeah, I think maybe you should go to Bermuda or Bahamas or wherever it was that he
Or Masked Singer, right? He might have been on
Masked
Masked Singer.
Yeah. And of course, what is a fantasy football podcast without a daily fantasy football expert? And Fanduel Fee is back in action. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited. I can't wait for football to start. I'm so excited to talk fantasy with everybody and you guys. So yeah, let's get it done.
Yeah. So, like I said, we are three fantasy football nerds. We are the sports equivalent of Dungeons and Dragons, and that's what we do. And we've done it, I believe. Fee, maybe, and Dunton, is this our 25th year? We're about to have our 25th draft.
25 years of the same league with the same rules. We got to talk about that at some
point. Well, hold on just a second.
Okay.
Are we really going to get into this right now?
No, we're not. We're going to talk about it another time.
The only question, just so our listeners know, out of the three of us, who has the most championships in our league over those 25 years?
You do.
I don't know. I can't remember.
You are the commissioner and keep the history. I know you know the answer, and that's okay that you refuse to answer it. My first title came against Mr. Dutton, if you remember, way back in 2005. That's how old we are. That was when this Tom Brady fellow was a quarterback on the Patriots. Remember those days? So anyway, our show's going to be a little different this year. We're going to break it up into 4 parts. And our first part is going to be, took a lot of thinking. We're going to call it First Down. And the first down segment is called Buy It or Bolt. So each week we're going to look at stuff that either we're going to buy it or it's BS, right? And we're just not going to believe that it is all that. So what we're going to start with here this week is just some off-season rumbling. We heard a lot of rumbling. We've heard a lot of fantasy experts this, magazines writing this. So I'm going to ask Fee and Dunton. Dunton, we'll go to you first. Allen Robinson is now in Los Angeles with the Super Bowl champion, Matthew Stafford, and has Cooper Kupp playing against him. Buy it or BS? Allen Robinson returns to form in 2022.
I'm going to buy that. I think him being on that team and opposite Cooper Kupp, yeah. I mean, I'm going to buy it. He did decent with rotating quarterbacks in Chicago, right? And now he has a solid quarterback. Of course, you know, there's that word that nobody wants to talk about in fantasy that begins with an I and ends with re. But I think Allen Robinson is a welcome addition. And we saw what Odell did there in a short amount of time. And I think Allen Robinson can get it done. So I'm going to buy it.
Hey.
Yeah, I hate to be in such agreement so early on here, but I'm going to buy it as well. Allen Robinson, I think people forget how good of a receiver he was. He had an off year last year. It was a tough season for him. He was sort of injured. He didn't have good quarterback play. He didn't have good team play for that matter. But he's a really, really good receiver. And if you look up the stats, and I'm not going to give them to him here, he was really good against, man coverage. He was really good against zone coverage. He can get it done. And I think people are forgetting that. And now you stick him on an offense or a Rams offense that's just dynamic. especially opposite Cooper Kupp and, with McVay calling the plays. And I'm also, I don't want to, if we can get into it here now, but I'm not buying into the Stafford injured elbow situation. I think he's going to be fine. I think it might have been a little overblown, but I'm a believer in Allen Robinson this year.
I'm going to join you guys, all three of us. I mean, he's been a long time favorite on this show. Even when he was down last year, we liked him. And look, we could say age, but Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne did it well into their 30s, right? Allen Robinson has that potential to be an 1,100-yard wide receiver in this offense with Cooper Kupp getting the attention. If Cam Akers comes through, things like that. I mean, he does have that ability to return there. Moving on to the next question. Fee, we'll start with you. There's been a lot of talk about David Montgomery, both positive and negative this offseason. Is this the year that David Montgomery busts out? Or no, busts, not bust out, busts.
So opposite of what I just said with Allen Robinson, I'm really not a believer in David Montgomery this year, specifically because of how poor I think the Bears are going to be. I don't believe in Justin Fields. I don't think that the Bears are going to be a good offense. They're probably going to have to throw it a ton. I don't know how often they're going to want to use Montgomery. And so he's just not a guy, especially where he's going in drafts, that I'm going to want to pick up unless he falls. I don't know that he's necessarily a bust. I just don't think that he's going to be as good as you're going to need him to be.
Dutton.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears kind of improved their offensive line today. They picked up somebody off of waivers, but I still don't know how good that offensive line is. And Fee mentioned Justin Fields. Like, there's the potential's there, but without an offensive line, you have a quarterback that's running around scared. And if they can key in on David Montgomery, and Fee, you said it, like, if you're drafting him first or second round, I don't think you're getting the return on that investment. If you're getting him fourth or fifth round and he puts up decent numbers, then you're okay with it. But I wouldn't waste a first or second round pick on David Montgomery this year.
So this offseason, I joined my first dynasty league, and I joined the Scott Fish Bowl, which is the national fantasy football. So I had to do some research. And when I was looking at running backs, I looked at their touches, total touches. And David Montgomery's had two big back-to-back years. And as I'm sure you can imagine, the odds in the current stage of running back usage, when you've had two big loads to carry for back-to-back years, guess what happens your third year? You miss a lot of games, right? And your stats go way down. And when you both said it, the offensive line's kind of a mess. Justin Fields, not only is he going to have these, he's going to have targets all over him, right? They could stack the box against this offense. I think this is the year you draft Herbert with confidence, Khalil Herbert as his backup. And like you said, if somehow he falls, but he's an RB1, he's not going to fall to that fifth or sixth round.
Right.
If you're investing in him early, I think this is the year you're upset with him. And this is a guy that we have been very high on over the past 2 years. We like David Montgomery. Okay, next, Dutton, to you. A.J. Brown finishes as a top 5 wide receiver in Philly. Buy it or BS?
BS, because I don't trust the quarterback in Philadelphia. And I know we have a lot of listeners who are friends of ours who are not going to like that statement, and they know how I feel. But I just there's too much hype around him, and he cannot throw the ball deep. He can't. He has to put his entire body into throwing a deep ball. And I mean, I think Philadelphia would be in heaven if A.J. Brown put up 90 catches and 1,000 yards this year. I don't know if that's going to happen because I don't trust their quarterback. I don't.
Faye, you're looking a little weirded out here.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with Dutton a little bit. I think he gets 1,000 yards easy. I don't think he's a top 5 receiver. So, I'm kind of both ways about this. I think he's going to have a really good year, especially with the way Philly's offense is kind of shaping up, where I feel like they're going to throw the ball more often than not. As not happy as, with Hurts, as people sound, especially Dutton here. I kind of agree with that. He does struggle with the deep ball, but I think that he'll still put up stats. I just don't think that he'll have a good enough year. I think I'd give him top 10.
Okay. Okay. See, I agree with what you said. If you remember last year, the Eagles did come out as a team that wanted to throw the ball, but they couldn't, right? Jalen Hurts couldn't get it done. And when they turned to a running team that threw, they were good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what you said, if you watch them this preseason, they look sharp. They are looking like they're that team that wants to throw and then run. Now, I do think Jalen Hurts, because of the numbers he puts up, is a great fantasy quarterback. I agree with Dunton. He's a nightmare if he's your starter for real life. My question is imagine if AJ Brown, who went from Ryan Tannehill to Jalen Hurts, imagine if he waited just like an extra week before signing and went to the Packers, right? And he was the Packers number one. We'd finally get to see what AJ Brown is all about. But once again, he's with a questionable quarterback. So I don't think he's anywhere near the top. All right.
He's only finished one time in the top 24 in the last 3 years as a top 24 wide receiver.
Crazy, right? And he's a guy that's always talked about. He's
right.
He is on paper, he's a number one wide receiver.
Absolutely.
He's not a number one fantasy receiver. Next one, we're going to start with Fee because I think I know Dutton's answer. Is Christian McCaffrey the number one running back in a PPR fantasy football league? Number one overall. Fee, buy it or BS?
BS. I think it's Jonathan Taylor. And that takes into account his injury history, because I feel like he's just not going to be on the field for 17 games. I don't know how many he will be on the field for. Probably more than last year, I would hope. But I think that Jonathan Taylor is in a better situation, and he's more durable. And I think that Christian McCaffrey just won't be the number one back this year. I think he'll still be top 3, but I don't think he'll be number one.
That was my next question. Where do you think he falls? So you do have him in the top. Dutton, what do you think?
I mean, he's drafted in the top 3 or 4 as a running back. Will he finish there? No. That team is a dumpster fire. Yes, they have Baker Mayfield as their quarterback, but let's be honest, that is the first he's already on the hot seat.
Panthers are going to be sneaky this year.
No, they're not. Trust me. They're not. I don't think they're good.
Baker Mayfield's going to have 3 games where he throws for 6 touchdowns because that's what Baker Mayfield does. And he finishes 25 touchdowns in a year and 75% of them come in 3 games. Right? That's what he does.
That's valid. Yeah. I mean, and you're talking to somebody who's had Christian McCaffrey twice in the last 2 years in fantasy, and it bit me in the tuchus both times. So
major bias here.
Oh yeah, I'll admit the bias.
And then so I'm going to tell you, if I had the number one pick in a PPR league this year, I'm taking McCaffrey because I think this is it for him, right? I think one more big hit and he's done. And yes, my season would go down in flames. I don't have the number one pick, but if he got hurt, but I don't know that he has another full year in him. And I think in a PPR league with what he could do, if they're smart, they get him those 100 receptions again. They don't pound him up the middle, and he's still that number one back. That's what I would do. So, Dutton, we will start with you on this next one. Speaking of bias, Tom Brady throws for 5,000 yards in 2022. Buy it or BS?
That's a hard one, and here's why. Their offensive line gets hurt more than Christian McCaffrey in the preseason.
They're already out, like 2 players.
I mean, they had one guy that left. He joined the Browns. They had another guy retire, and then they've had 2 guys get hurt. And they were one of the best offensive lines in football last year, and now they're all brand new. And that's all after Tom Brady unretired. Right. Wouldn't he have unretired if he knew all this offensive line stuff was going to happen? He has the potential to. I mean, Chris Godwin is not going to play till probably week 6. That's going to impact his ability to throw for a lot of yards because teams, defenses will key in on Mike Evans. Mike Evans is also injury prone. He's already had a hamstring issue during preseason. I mean, all of these things are not boding well for Mr. Brady, who was hoping to come back for one more run, I believe, and things are not looking good. I say he hits about 4,600 yards, but not 5,000.
Okay. Fate.
Everything Dutton said. He took what I was going to say. Godwin being hurt and Evans being injury prone and Julio Jones being 97.
Julio Jones.
Right. That too. And the offensive line. Yeah, big issue there. So he'll do Tom Brady things. He won't hit 5,000.
I think he will. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. Why not? He's Tom Brady. Every
You
time
always buy Brady.
I
That's why.
do, because every time someone says he can't do something, he's like, hold my beer, right? And then he does it. All right. Jimmy G obviously made some waves. He hasn't even picked up the playbook, is what the rumors are. He hasn't practiced at all, but the 49ers took him off the trade block and signed him to be the backup. Buy it or BS, he'll be a 49er by the trade deadline. Fee.
This is a tough one. I think it really depends on how the Niners are doing. Are they playing well? What's their record? Is Trey Lance hurt? I think there's a lot of factors that are going to come into play. I think they hold on to him. I don't think they would have signed him again as the league's highest paid backup if they were just going to trade him.
Mm-hmm.
And as we all know, I feel like trades are kind of rare-ish in football. So especially during the season. So yeah. I think that he stays a Niner, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do you one better here, and I'm gonna tell you that he's gonna be the starter coming down the stretch for the Niners.
Wow, bold prediction from Fee. Dutton.
I think he gets traded. I think he gets traded because another team who's in contention has an injury to their quarterback, and Jimmy G can lead them to the promised land. And I think he doesn't want to be there because they don't really want him. So, I mean, watch out. Like, he could end up on the Jets, right? Because Joe Flacco is not going to play the whole season. Who knows what's going on with their quarterback who's already hurt? I mean, that knee injury looked nasty. I can't believe he's only out weeks. So I think he gets traded. I agree with you that trades are rare, but I think there's a team out there who's fighting for a wild card spot, and they will go after Jimmy G because he wins playoff games. As much as the 49ers hate him, he has won playoff games for them.
Yeah. I mean, he's been to 2 NFC championship games in 3 years, right? I think it was a great signing. I agree with Dutton. Look, the Browns made it clear that Brissett was their man. The Jets made it clear that Flacco was their man. But you play a couple real games, and those guys are your quarterbacks. All of a sudden, his trade value is a lot more than it is right now, right?
Joe Flacco's wearing 19 as a leader, and it doesn't look right.
Yeah, that's a weird number for a quarterback.
It looks like they got some receiver out there.
How many years he's been in the league?
They took the Keyshawn Johnson number out of retirement and threw it on Joey Flacco. I love it.
Just to insult Key.
This is going to be a rapid fire, just a yes or no on these. It's off-season moves. Buy it or BS. Russell Wilson is better off now in Denver. Dutton.
Oh, totally buy it. Totally better fit for him right now.
Fate.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
I think I will because of the running game. Buy it or BS. Tyreek Hill is in a better place now in Miami than he was. Dutton.
It's so hard. Tua versus Patrick Mahomes. The answer is no.
Yeah, no chance. No way.
I don't think he is either. Buy it or BS. Hollywood Brown is in a better place now in Arizona. Fate.
Buy it. Absolutely. Lamar, he ran too much. Kyler, while he runs, throws the ball more often than not.
Dutton.
He throws the ball more often, but remember that playoff game where he was just throwing it to random Rams. So I don't know.
That's true. That's fair.
I'm gonna sell it, but I'm BSing it.
I think we have to wait until about week 6, right? Let's see what happens when Nuke and him are playing on the same field, and he doesn't have to be the only guy there, right? So I'm right now. I'm buying BS. That's what I'll do. And then last. Buy it or BS, better off now, Baker Mayfield. Dutton.
Oh, I'm totally BSing that. He's going from the number 1 offensive line in football to the number 22 offensive line in football. He doesn't have a 2-back system like he had in Cleveland. He has one that's injury prone.
Yeah. Fate.
I'm buying it. I think he's going to be resurgent this year. I think he hated the Browns. The Browns hated him. And I think he's got a lot of weapons in Carolina. I know you guys don't believe it, but I think that he's in a better situation now.
Yeah. My answer is he's Baker Mayfield. Doesn't matter. Right. That's the way I look at it. Poor a longtime listener, Anthony, drafted him, and he's claiming he's starting him in week 1 as well.
Well, of course, because that's the only game he's going to play well because he's playing the Browns.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. That will be one of his 6 touchdown games.
There you go.
All right. Now, this is going to be another rapid fire, guys, before we move on to second down. These are sleepers. And we've discussed on this show when we had our sleepers episode that it's such a stupid name because there's year-round coverage now. Nobody's a sleeper. So let's call these breakout guys. These are the guys that have been in the offseason. We've heard their name a lot. Ready? Do you buy it or BS that these people have their breakout season? First, Fee, Raymond Stevenson on the Pats. Buy it or BS, breakout season?
I'm buying it. I think he has a solid season. Mac Jones, I don't know what he is, to be honest. I think they run the ball more often than not, and I think Belichick gets them going somehow. So I think Ramondre Stevenson has a good year.
Dutton.
He has a good year, but he's on a team that Bill Belichick will use 6 different running backs, so it's hard. So I'm going to go with no.
I agree. I think he'll put up good numbers, but not the numbers that everyone's thinking he's going to put up. Buy it or BS, Benjamin Eno on the Cardinals. I don't know why he's getting so much love, but he's getting a lot of love right now. Dutton, buy it or BS?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, did the Cardinals run the ball last year other than Kyler Murray? They had they had 2 running backs. They traded for one, and still it didn't help. So I'm going to BS it.
Fee.
Yeah, it's BS.
Me too. Rashad Bateman, Ravens wide receiver. Buy it or BS? He's a breakout. Dutton.
I'm going to buy that because Lamar's playing for a contract, right? So he's got to do something to look good, and he's got to throw the ball to somebody, and he can't throw it to Mark Andrews all the time.
Fair. Fee.
Yeah, I'm buying it. Other than Mark Andrews, he's the guy. Lamar's got to throw it.
I feel like we've been hearing this is his breakout year every year. I'm BSing it. Derek Carr, buy it or BS? He breaks out to a new level this year. Fee.
I'm buying it. He's got Devontae Adams. He's got Waller. He's got weapons. I'm buying it.
Dutton.
Don't forget Austin Eckler. I'm buying it. Yes, he is going to have a great season. And Devontae Adams.
Oh, Austin Eckler?
No, not Austin Eckler. What's his name?
Jacobs?
No, the other guy.
Hunter Renfrow.
Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow. Who reminds me of Austin Eckler, just at a different position. No, Devontae Adams is going to play out of his mind this year to prove to everybody that it wasn't just Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm buying it. I already like Derek Carr. That's an easy sell for me. And this is the guy that you see everywhere because of the way he finished last year. Dutton, buy it or BS? Gabriel Davis carries.
Oh, totally buying it. Totally buying it. If the Bills are going to the Super Bowl, Gabriel Davis is having an amazing year because Josh Allen is having a ridiculous year. So I'm buying it.
Fee?
Yeah, I'm buying it too. It's him and Diggs. So if Josh Allen is going to throw for 5,000 yards, they're going to get half each. So I'm buying it.
That offense looks good. It's hard. Of course, I'm buying it too. Austin Hooper is getting a lot of love in Tennessee now that he's in the Titans tight end. Dutton, buy it or BS? He's worth picking.
I've never been a fan of Ryan Tannehill, so I'm BSing it.
Fee?
Yeah, I'm BSing it. I don't like the Titans offense this year.
I agree. Michael Pittman's getting a lot of love. Is this his breakout year with Matt Ryan in Indy? Fee?
Ooh, this one's a tough one for me. I'm gonna buy it. Matt Ryan has not thrown for less than 4,500 yards in any season in the last 9, I think. I'm gonna buy it. He's the number 1 guy in Indianapolis. Right, Matty Ice has got to throw it to somebody. I know they're gonna run the ball more often than not, but they got to throw it too. And Pittman's gonna be the guy, so I'm gonna buy it.
Dutton.
He said that he's never played with a quarterback who's more accurate than Matt Ryan. I'm buying it.
Oh, I didn't know he said that, and I was buying it in the first place. So I'm going to agree. I buy it. Another big name after he was kind of on everyone's radar last year, but now he's really on everyone's radar. Tony Pollard on the Cowboys. Fee, buy it or BS? This is his breakout year.
BS. And
wow.
I know that everybody fucking loves this guy, and I can't stand it. It's BS. There's no chance that he even out-snaps Ezekiel Elliott. I know everyone's down on Zeke and huge on Pollard. It's BS. It's not a breakout. At best, he's going to half everything with Zeke. It's not going to be anything but some sort of bye week replacement type of guy. I mean, he might be your flex guy occasionally. But if you're going to be resting on your laurels on this guy to play for you every single week, I don't think it's going to happen for you.
Dutton.
I'm buying it because I don't think Zeke finishes the season. I mean, at some point, the tread on the tires gets old, and Zeke's been around for a while, and we know that running backs don't last a long time. Is it his breakout? I don't know, because I feel like he broke out last year, but
I think he broke out in name, right? But he didn't really break out.
That's because he kept following Zeke, but he had many games where he was better than Zeke. So I'm buying it.
Zeke has been the unicorn, like you said, 268 touches in 2018, 381, 355, 296, 284 last year. No running back has put up touches that many years in a row like that. And he's got to break down eventually. And then Tony Pollard's going to get all those touches. I buy it. This is his big breakout year. Last one who's getting a lot of love is Mooney on the Bears. Wide receiver. What do we think? Dunton, buy it or BS?
It's so hard because we already talked about the quarterback, but if he's going to throw the ball, he's got to throw it to somebody. And we already talked about Robinson not being there. So after week 6, we'll come back to it. So I'm going to cautiously buy it.
Fee?
Nah, it's BS. I mean, you can't, I don't think you can rely on this guy on your fantasy team for anything more than some sort of bye week replacement. I just don't think he's going to put up a ton of stats this year.
Yeah, I think he has the skills to do it. I think if he was on another team, my answer would be yes, but I don't like that Bears situation. So I'm going to say BS. All right, so that's the end of first down. The buy it or BS. It's a little longer. It won't be that long a week to week, but we're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. I'm totally kidding. We haven't even recorded a show in 9 months. I don't even know if anyone's listening. How the hell do we have sponsors? So we're just going to go on to second down. Second down, I'm stealing a shout out to Jason, the Brookhaven Fantasy Football League, but I got to go with his team name. Calvin Ridley's Locks of the Week. This is the week. This is the part of the show where once the season starts, we'll each give you our one lock of the week and agree on one. And last year we did really well because we started putting our eggs in the Lions basket, if you remember. And those guys covered every week of the season, it felt like. We're not going to do every team. We're just going to give some quick answers here. We're going to do over-unders on the Vegas line. We're going to start with Fee's New York Giants at 7. 7. Fee, what do you think? Over, under?
Stay away. That's what I think about this line.
You're taking a 7.
I honestly, it's a good number. So if I had to guess, I'd say under.
Dutton?
Under. Daniel Jones will not be in New York or New Jersey or wherever they play at the end of the season.
Right. Under. I'm with you. Texans, for me, 4.5. They are with the Falcons. According to Vegas, they're both 4.5 over under. And they are going to be battling for the draft pick. They're the 2 worst odds. Texans 4.5. They had 4 wins last year. Dutton, over under.
Damon Pierce is the hottest running back they're talking about right now. I'm going over. They're going to win 5 games.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going over. I think they might even pull out 6.
I think they improved on every position in the field from last year. They had 4 wins. They're getting 5 wins this year. I'm going over. This is a tough one for Dutton. Your Bucks, 11.5 wins, over or under?
Under. They're going to win 11 games. Their division is tougher than people are giving it credit for. Okay. You talked about the Panthers being sneaky. The Saints always beat them, even with Jameis as their quarterback. The Falcons should be 2 wins, but they also play a tough schedule because they're a winning team. So yeah, I'm going under 11.
Fee?
Yeah, I'd go under also. I think probably around 11. This is a tough one too. This is probably a stay away also, but if I had to guess, I'd say under on this one too.
All right, I'm going under, but probably like 10. Yeah, maybe 11, like you said. Lions 6.5. This one's interesting to me. Dutton.
Their coach's enthusiasm alone gets them to 7 wins.
Fee.
Yeah, I love it. I'm taking the over on the Lions. They won't make the playoffs, but I think they'll pull out 7 or 8 wins for sure.
I sat down with Jeff DiMatteo over at Gridiron Rankings, and we went through the Lions schedule, and here it is. Longtime listener, Ted, listen, Lions fan, 10 wins for your Detroit Lions this year. I'm going over. 10 wins, no question. Rams, Super Bowl champion, less than the Bucks at 10.5. Dutton, over, under.
The division is tough. I mean, the Seahawks are down, but the Niners aren't bad. The Cardinals are supposed to be just as good, if not better. I'm with Fee. Stay away from this one because it's right at the number, I think. I'm going to go over at 11. They're going to win 11.
Fee.
Yeah, I'm going over. Also probably a stay away for me, but I'm going over on it.
I like the 11 win mark. I'll go with you guys over. Super Bowl runner up, Cincinnati Bengals 9.5. Fee, over under.
It's got to be over. I 9.5 just seems a little low for me. The Bengals have a really good team. They shored up their offensive line. I think they fixed that issue. They got playmakers all over the field on offense. I think they can pull out 10 or 11 wins.
Done.
Over. I mean, they're going to go 4-0 against the Browns and the Steelers. So there's 4 wins right there.
I agree. That was going to be my rationale. Browns 8.5. I think this is a little high. I mean, I would go under, but there's a lot of drama in Cleveland. That seems
too
like
much drama. Under, way under.
Fee.
Yeah, it's under for me.
Vikings 9.5. We've always loved the Vikings offense fantasy wise. Do they get to 10 wins? Fee.
Oh God. I'm gonna go over. Just you got to remember that we're playing 17 games now. I think that they can pull out 10.
Dutton.
They go 4-2 in their division, so we need to win 6 more games. Yeah, they'll go over. They'll win 10.
I think they win 10. All right, this is a tough one because of their division. The Raiders 8.5. Dutton.
It's the hardest division in football, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would love to. I haven't looked at their non-division schedule, but 8.5. Yeah, they'll pull out 9.
Fake.
Yeah, this one's over. I just can't see them not winning more than 9 games.
I agree. 100% agree. Too much on that offense. The offense is going to be fun to watch. It's Las Vegas. There's no more Gruden. So 10 wins for me, at least. All right. That leaves us to third down, which will normally be Fanduel Fees stacks of the week. We don't have any stacks this week. So we're going to ask Fanduel Fee real quick before we wrap up the first show here in the last 5 minutes. Fee, let's talk about a few favorite stacks of the week. How about some new stacks? We just talked about those Raiders. That's got to be exciting for you. Is that one of the stacks you're looking at for this year?
100%. Derek Carr should be should have a lower salary to start the season. So I love the Carr to Adams stack. I also really like, and I know this is going to not be popular, so it probably will be very underowned, but I like a Mariota to Kyle Pitts stack.
Wow.
Depending on the game and depending on, who they're playing. But I do like it. I think the obvious ones are Burrow and Jamar Chase. And you could even throw in T. Higgins in there. Yeah. And one that I actually really love a lot is going to be a Russell Wilson to Cortland Sutton stack.
Cortland Sutton burns me. I've drafted in the last 2 years. He's been hurt. He definitely has something to play for with Russell Wilson back there. I'm skeptical. That's a big question mark for me as the Broncos. We said earlier, is Russell Wilson in a better place? I think he is because the running game takes pressure off him, but I definitely think he had better receivers in Seattle, with Lockett and DK, the droid, Metcalf. What do you think about the Dolphins? They made a lot of improvements. We said Tyreek Hill may be in a worse spot fantasy-wise, but having Mike Gesicki, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Tua looked sharp towards the end of the season. They have a mess of running backs back there. What do you think about that stack, Fee?
So the problem with that stack would be that Tua, first of all, doesn't really throw for a ton of yards. And if you're and your quarterback is you kind of need to have big points, and he's not going to be able to spread he's going to have to spread it around, and there's probably too much to go around. Now, that doesn't mean that those guys aren't very good for fantasy, because they probably are, but for DFS on a week-to-week basis, it's going to be hard to play those guys.
Yeah, I hear you. Dot, I'm going to ask you, even though you're not the stacks master, but we got to ask you, what's going to happen in Green Bay this year?
I mean, it's supposed to be MVS, right? And Aaron Rodgers. Everything.
MVS is in Kansas City.
Not
It's
MVS.
Lazard.
Alan Lazard. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Alan Lazard. Alan Lazard is supposed to be the guy, but
And Romeo Doubs.
Yeah.
he's supposed to have been the number 2 guy for the last 3 or 4 years, and he's had one.
None of those guys, like MVS, you said, and Lazard,
Right.
none of them really stepped up and took ownership of that number 2 spot.
Nope.
And now we expect him to suddenly become a number 1 just because he's there.
And I mean, the drama that's already coming out of that wide receiver room, and Aaron Rodgers already bashing them that they're not running the routes right and they're not locking in on what I don't know. I mean, maybe Aaron Rodgers needs to take more mescaline or whatever he's taking before he
whatever that was.
So,
yeah, I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure in Green Bay.
And hey, let's throw it out there. The Davis Mills Brandon Cook stack. It's going to be a good one. It's going to win you championships. Championships, get the double dip. The
Brady Evans stack will be good for the beginning of the year.
As long as they're cheap. Yeah.
Right. If they're cheap. Right.
They won't. Of course, we would go into the red zone for our final portion of the show and talk about our starts of the sits of the week. Go through the one start at each position, go through one sit at each position, which we did really well at. But the 3 of us don't even have a team yet. So how the hell are we going to tell people who the hell to start? So we're glad that you're back. It's so good to see everybody. We hope that you follow along. We'll be back every week giving you locks of the week, stacks of the week, buy it or BS. And then, of course, your starts and sits. We're 9 months rested. We're going to have a lot of good content. So we look forward to seeing you throughout the season. Thanks for joining us. That's been the Fantasy Football Breakdown.